Hello guys, welcome back for another marvelous video. The Hellraiser universe seems to hold thousands of terrifying and grotesque Cenobites, every single one having a chilling backstory, and a severely horrifying ability. One of them was Fulgar, who was part of the notorious Lucky Six, a group of Cenobites on a mission under Leviathan's command. Let's dive into Fulgar's chilling origin story and his role as one of the most powerful Cenobites from Merkova's Lucky Six. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Fulgar's first appearance. Fulgar first appears in the tale The Harrowing Part 1, Resurrection, in Clive Barker's issue 17 of Hellraiser. This tale begins with Mortemam, a god imprisoned by her brother Leviathan, within an egg-shaped tomb under Joplin, Missouri. As she wished to escape from this prison, Mortemam selected 6 humans as her Harrowers, who would be blessed warriors, there to fight the Cenobites, the minions of Leviathan, so that she could leave her tomb. Sadly, the goddess was outsmarted by Leviathan, while all 6 Harrowers were killed, thereby failing in their religious mission. After many years have passed, the hope of freedom has once again been ignited by the goddess through maggots. These maggots, feasting on her decomposing flesh, undergo a change of form and fly out to recruit new allies in order to further her cause. Above, Bunny Benedict is guarding the tomb, recognizing that something is wrong due to the rumbling earth. These quivers suggest that the maggots escape the face of Legs Benedict's egg museum, an odd disguise for the tomb of Mortemam. Bunny swats at them, unaware that they are agents of the goddess, charged to gather her next selected warriors. While Mortemam gathers all her allies, Leviathan from Hell senses his sister's growing power. In response, he summons the general, the leader of his hellish army, and orders him to assemble 6 of his finest Cenobites to crush Mortemam's Harrowers before they can succeed. These Cenobites, known as Merkova's Lucky Six, are sent to stop the goddess warriors, and Fulgar is among them, alongside his fellow Cenobites Merkova, Turpis, Cattleskull, Cowboy, and Halo Blades. The battle begins. As the new set of Harrowers make their way to Mortemam's tomb, they're drawn to the Legs Benedict's egg museum, where Mortemam lies. Bunny Benedict meets up with them and provides a tour. Underneath the museum, behind an enormous egg-shaped monument, Mortemam's underground prison was kept hidden. When the floor is cracked open by an earthquake, which inserts a stairway into the unknown, it leads down the Harrowers to eventually unlock the chamber where Mortemam lies locked up. Through the goddess, they find their destiny as her new Harrowers, destined to beat her enemies, the forces of Leviathan's demons. As the Harrowers ready themselves to enter battle, armed with instruments carrying the life force of the goddess, the Lucky Six emerge to facilitate a scene for a bloodbath. Fulgar versus the Harrowers. In no time does Fulgar establish his presence as the Harrowers take on the Lucky Six. While the Harrowers are fending off the Cenobites, Fulgar's sadism pops out as he catches one of the warriors, Ron Ringwood, and hooks him using his hook chains. In a horrifying display of malice, as Fulgar gets ready to castrate Ron, it reveals his utter disregard for human pain. Just when it seemed that all was lost for Ron, Vera Wyshak emerged from the Harrowers team. Armed with her rim blade boomerang, she tears off one of Fulgar's flailing, flame-filled hands from his body, momentarily halting the vicious attack upon Ron. However, that only stops him temporarily. Fulgar, still filled with hate and rage, swiftly overpowers Vera with his very large body. Screaming wildly, Vera begs Mortemam to assist her, and the goddess listens, thereby granting her new power, acidic blood and saliva, like a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. Equipped with this new defense mechanism, Vera spits acid at Fulgar, leaving him writhing in agony and allowing her to get away. For the first time, Fulgar proved helpless against a mere human, though this would not be the last defeat he suffered. The fall of Fulgar. As the fight between the Harrowers and the Lucky Six proceeds, Fulgar finds himself back in the thick of things. This time, Fulgar and his Cenobites are outwitted by the twins Lucinda and Lavinia, who utilize illusions to confuse the demons, who can't tell what's real and what isn't. Fulgar and others fall victim to the twins' clever plans. To add to their misfortune, Ovid, a guide provided to the twins by Mortemam, emerges as a cherubic infant, with insect-like wings and pointed ears, and utilizes his tremendous farts to further confuse Fulgar and the Lucky Six. Lucinda and Lavinia seize the opportunity and use their magic lasso to bind Fulgar and the other Cenobites, exposing them to attack by the other Harrowers. Pretty soon, Fulgar and his buddies are mutilated one by one, their bodies broken and torn to pieces. Despite this defeat, Fulgar's narrative doesn't conclude here. Following the battle, his severed remains, along with those of his fellow Cenobites, are returned to Hell. The creation of the Furiae. Though Fulgar died at the hands of the Harrowers, his remains were far from insignificant. Furious with the Lucky Six's loss, Leviathan orders Pinhead to create the Furiae, a hideous monster made up of the dismembered body parts of Fulgar, Halo Blades, Cowboy, Turpus, and Cattleskull. This creature, fashioned out of anger, vengeance, and rage, was intended to be an unstoppable force against Mortemom's Harrowers. The Furiae proved to be a powerful opponent. Every time the Harrowers tried to damage it, the creature regenerated, sprouting new limbs or employing hook chains as protective weapons. It also caught Vera's boomerang in midair, nearly killing numerous Harrowers. However, thanks to Ovid's foul-smelling emissions, the Harrowers were able to distract the Furiae long enough to bind it with their lasso and drive it near the edge of a pit, which led to Mortemom's grave. In the end, the Harrower called Marty Sevenbirds gave his life to defeat the beast, tackling the Furiae and leaping into the pit along with him. Fulgar's past revealed. While Fulgar's presence loomed huge in earlier conflicts, his complete past is detailed in Hellraiser issue 19, titled Death, Where Is Thy Sting? The roots of Fulgar are explored in this story, which takes place almost 370 years before the events at the Egg Museum. In 1620, a young man called Robert Johnson solves the notorious Lament configuration, unwittingly summoning Fulgar to guide him to hell. To rescue their son, Robert's parents, Philip and Grace Johnson, offer to surrender their souls to Fulgar in his stead. Fulgar accepts their offer, but before he can take their souls, the Johnsons fly to America in an attempt to flee from Fulgar. A year later, Fulgar finally locates Philip and Grace. In a glorious demonstration of power, Fulgar burns down their house and takes their souls as he had promised them. As the final act of vengeance, Fulgar marked the Johnson children with the sign of Leviathan that cursed their bloodline. Since then, every Johnson descendant who reached the age of 25 was claimed by Fulgar and taken to Hell to be a slave under Aparius, Hell's beekeeper. Fulgar's horrifying form. Fulgar was one of the oldest and most frightening Cenobites. His twisted appearance, far older and more brutal than many of his peers, filled not only mortals but also the Harrowers with fear. Wrinkled, balding, with long strands of black hair flowing down his back, there was an unsettling presence around Fulgar. His skin was covered in gruesome tattoos that resembled teeth around his mouth, and on either side of his neck, two thin bones were stuck. These added to his already ghastly appearance. Bare-chested, he wore the signature Cenobite leather down at his waist, but bones adorned his body, including a large horned skull mounted on his hips. His arms were veneered with saw blades lodged into his triceps. So as you can see, he was an altogether dangerous and menacing figure. Marvelous verdict. That brings us to the end of this video. Fulgar is the scariest, not only among the members of Merkova's Lucky Six, but among every Cenobite in the Hellraiser lore. His ugly face and terrifying abilities symbolize him to be an original aspect of the hellish force of nature, encompassing ancient malice and unrelenting fury. Conquered by the Harrowers, Fulgar lives in our memory because of the brutal combat and the monstrous Furiae created from his body. Even in death, his body was twisted toward even greater destructive intent, a final testimony to the ambition of Leviathan. Fulgar's story chillingly reminds one that death in hell is not an end and be done with situation, but rather an imperative to become something much worse. As a much respected warrior of Leviathan, Fulgar continues to terrorize those brave enough to challenge the forces of hell, truly making him a powerful and unforgettable Cenobite. Who do you think is the scariest Cenobite? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, then show some love by hitting that like button, and do share this video with all your buddies. I'll see you in the next one.